It's time to start your engines and be part of the conversation. You can always ask the experts, Raffi and Dan Rosenberg.
That's me.
Because it's now time for Clutch Radio.
What time is it?
The show starts now.
When? Oh, here we are. Hi.
What are you doing walking over the intro?
I figured to make it interesting today. And the echo went away. How awesome is that?
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I had an echo the whole time we were talking beforehand, and now it's gone.
Well, good morning.
Good morning, everybody. It's Saturday, April 15th. It's tax day, but not till Monday.
Actually, it's Tuesday.
Oh, Tuesday?
Yeah, for some reason, I don't know why. I believe it's Tuesday.
Oh.
So there you go. You get an extra day.
I filed an extension anyway.
Do you file an extension every year?
Every year.
Why?
Because.
Because. That's not a reason.
Because I can. Hello, Isabel.
Good morning, Isabel.
Gentlemen, who's she talking about?
Oh, she's talking about us. We are gentlemen.
It is 10 a.m. on the West Coast, 1 o'clock on the East, and wherever you are, it's whatever time it is there.
Right.
We are back. This is two weeks in a row.
Yes.
We haven't had to reschedule or do anything special. I think we need, at some point in the near future, we need to do a driving show again. Probably the Dodge Stealth will need to have its own show again as we prepare it for sale on Bring a Trailer.
That's a good idea.
And maybe we can even do the pictures that day and the video that day, get it all done.
Certainly, we're going to need a dry day. It's been raining quite a bit unseasonably.
Yes. And today I want to talk about something. You know, I mentioned last week about all the different cars in Europe and in England when I was there. And I keep seeing ads, and there's all these new electric cars that are popping up that people are saying, oh, this new one's coming. But none of them are coming to the United States. And I'm like, why are they putting these out? Like, why is Google News putting this in my feed? And why are they? And it's like Motor Trend and Motor Biscuit. It's all these local, the American-based sites doing all these stories about these cars that are never going to come here. And like, oh, only sub $20,000 electric car. I did see Rivian's coming out with a smaller version of their SUV. That's apparently going to be in the 40 range.
Yeah.
That's going to be pretty amazing. A $40,000 Rivian.
It's certainly, so to answer your question about that, the reason why the North American press reports on vehicles that are made available in the European markets is for quite some time, European markets have been development beds for volume production. So companies will invest because restrictions are a little lighter in different parts of the world than when compared to North America. So they'll put a car together, put it out there. They may design and engineer it to be, let's just say, within 75 to 80% compliance of North American safety and regulation standards. They'll put it out there. It'll sell well enough to recoup development costs for heavy money like the tooling, for the steel parts, the castings, the machinings for various parts and components. Then they've done their amortization work on the beta or alpha market, and then they'll start to put together stuff for what they can do, revising it, and then they'll model that for U.S. or North American, because Canada's included in that market.
Well, some of these are like Chinese made though, and like it seems like the Chinese companies, I mean, they make some amazing cars. Like, I mean, MG is a Chinese company.
Yes,
and I don't see them coming back here anytime soon.
Well, there's the main reason why you won't see a company like MG come back here is because there's no dealer infrastructure or a network for services that'll be associated with it unless they partner with a company. You might remember the car company Studebaker back in the 50s and 60s. They were the oldest car company in the world, older than Mercedes-Benz. And before they went out of business in 1965, they had merged with Packard. And also as an attempt to try and broaden their brand, In the late 50s, early 60s, they formed an alliance with Mercedes-Benz. And Studebaker was the Mercedes-Benz repair service sales dealership. So Studebaker had that had that market. Had they stayed in business, they would have been able to work out some sort of a network of dealerships and all that for sales around the United States. So China, having developed
China.
China, having developed automobiles for many years now, is now the number one by volume vehicle manufacturer as a country. So they're making a lot of cars. Unfortunately,
And some of them are really good.
Yes.
I drive one. I mean, my Polestar is actually a Chinese-made car, even though it's Swedish design.
Yeah, but their industries are very, very dependent. They're not just automotive, but aviation and other industries for China are very dependent on outside suppliers, including partnerships with American and European firms. So what remains to be seen is if China can make a volume, low production automobile for the United States market. That's the hardest thing to do. Do you remember the Mercedes A-Class? They littered Europe.
Yeah,
with those.
They're still over there.
Yeah,
the A's and the B's.
Yeah, but they're extremely difficult to get into the U.S. Because of the restrictions associated with safety, and it's good that we have these things because look, the reason why the United States has tougher laws for safety and all that stuff is because we're not the best drivers. That's just a reality. We don't have the best roads. We don't have enough limitations on training, and we have all kinds of problems with our vehicles. So they have to be safer because we have higher accident rates and higher fatalities associated with accidents than almost any other country.
Yes.
That keeps track. We don't know how it could be in rural parts of India or rural parts of China where the numbers could be higher, but statistically, on a per mile, per driven basis, North America is quite bad.
All right. Well, I just want to say hi to Adam. He says,
Good morning,
guys. On his way to Long Beach. And then Ray's got a used car market update. And then I've got a Corvette thing I want to talk about.
Well, hold on a sec. Long Beach, Washington, or Long Beach?
I'm sure Washington.
Oh, okay.
I don't think you drive all the way down to LA?
You could. It's 1,000 miles, 1,160, 1,100 and change down to LA from here. Done it many times.
Ray has a big used car market update.
Yes.
Used car prices under 5K are getting scarce and prices are insane. I'm very certain the next 24 months, half of the small used car dealership shop lots will be going the way of the dinosaur. Oh, good. We'll be getting more gas out of them then. Between ever increasing shortage of used cars, shift to EV, and price of these used cars in repair, they'll be gone. South Tacoma Way and Auburn Way already looking like a vast wasteland of empty lots. Well, that's good for me, and I'll tell you why. Because the goal I have of the sitcom is it gets picked up by a network and we buy a car dealership.
There you go.
And we actually use the car dealership to film, and then it becomes a tourist attraction, and then we actually have a working car dealership.
Yeah. And people can come in and buy a car from Tony.
Yes. And we'll hire actors to impersonate you. So if you're not there, they can still buy from Tony. They'll have a Dan character they can buy from, an Eric character. You know, it depends on what type of salesperson they want.
There you go.
It'll be like a theme restaurant.
I'll bet, like a TV show like The Office, for example, I'll bet you could set up a place and set it all up and duplicate the set, and people would come just to have their picture taken at the office.
Yeah, I definitely think so. Now, what do you think of this? Let's see what your thoughts are.
So before we leave Ray's comment behind, he's absolutely right. Cars under $5,000 are getting harder and harder to find. And it's not because they're hard to find. They're out there. The problem is that mechanics don't want to work on cars anymore that are 25 years old or older. They're just like, I don't want to work on this car, or I can't work on this car. It just takes too much time. It's a $1,500 car and it's going to cost you $1,200 to fix it. So they say, I don't recommend doing it. And if you insist and say, just go ahead and fix it, then they got to put it in a special spot. They got to work on it. And the tech who's spending most of his time in training on cars that are 2010 and newer, which by the way is still a 13-year-old car.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. So those cars are getting the attention because even a 13-year-old car has over 100,000 miles. So those are considered used cars that may be worth $8,000 to $12,000. But what's going to happen is there's going to be price compression on newer used cars to where those cars are going to have to come down in price to be able to sell to the mass of people who can only afford to buy a $5,000 car.
Yeah. And interest rates are, ridiculously high. For my day job at Auto Trader KBB, I was talking with one of our finance guys about interest rates and why so many people are like balking from buying. They're like, oh, your rates are too high. But what they don't realize is, if you have a 780 credit score, 2 years ago, you're getting 3% and 4% car loans.
Yeah.
Now you're getting 8%, 9%, and 10% car loans. Like that's with great credit.
Yeah.
And yeah, some of the manufacturers, and I think the new car manufacturers are going to have to do a few things where they do the 0% for 72 months just to get the cars sold.
Yeah.
And the markup is ridiculous that they're still trying to do. I saw a TikTok. I forgot to save it. I was trying to find it this morning. A guy bought, or a neighbor of his bought a Chevy Spark, and he showed him the buyer's order, and MSRP was like $24,000. But then they had a market adjustment of $5,000. They had undercoating and paint protectant of $1,200. They had window etching for $700. That costs $5, by the way, to put the little
VIN sticker.
Yeah, they do a little VIN thing. They rub acid over this little blue sticker, and it etches in the window a number, so that if the car is ever, those things are BS. They really are. I mean, and they literally cost $5 for the dealership.
Every opening feature on most cars now has a VIN already on it.
Yeah.
So I don't know what VIN on the glass does.
Yeah, nobody's stealing just glass.
Yeah.
The bottom line is it doubled the price. With all the fees they added, it was double the sticker price. And somebody actually paid and financed that.
Wow.
And they had to have a huge down payment because the bank won't finance 200% of sticker.
No.
It's just absolute insanity. And yeah, I went on a site where you can it'll check your credit without hitting a hard inquiry. It's a soft pull.
Mm-hmm.
And you can actually, Carvana does this too. You can go and give them your information and, your social security number, your birthday, your income, your address, and they'll tell you exactly what your interest rate will be.
Oh. And
it is shocking. I mean, CarMax had, I think they were in the 7 range. They were the lowest. And with you have a 780 credit score, you should not be paying 7% interest on a car loan.
Well, not these days. And despite what we've heard in the past few months about bank failure, the banks are doing just fine. Thank you very much. They're posting enormous profits. Why? Because the acceleration in interest rates has given them, people haven't stopped getting money. They need the money to do the things they're doing. But the balance against the cash strength for banks and the interest growth they're experiencing on the back end is enormous. Big gains because of that. So banks are taking advantage of this opportunity. And surprise, surprise, it's the middlemen. It's that band of people in the very middle that get stung the hardest because they need a vehicle, they need to buy it, they can't afford to buy it outright, so they buy on time and they pay the interest rate. Now, if they're old enough to remember, like you and me, for example, car payments that were 9, 10, 11%, they, maybe they don't think 7% is that big a deal. And so people, but the difficult part about what's happening with interest rates is there were vehicles you could buy that were quite expensive with low to no interest, where you'd have a car payment of $500-600 to have a very nice vehicle. Well, you can't do that anymore. You have car payment now; it's going to be $1,200-1,500.
Yeah.
And even if you're earning six figures, $1,200-1,500 car payment is a tough nut to swallow.
Yeah, I just pulled up on U.S. News and World Report. They always have the 0% car deals of the month.
Mm.
How many do you think there are? There's usually pages and pages of them.
Well, there used to be pages and pages. We would go through some of that stuff on previous shows. Is there a dozen?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 10.
10.
And of the 10, here, I'll share the screen real quick. Of the 10, all of them are only 36 months.
Wow.
And it used to, I mean, one of them is 60 months, and it's a Mazda CX-50.
And the CX-50, that's a highfalutin car.
Highfalutin. The CX-50 is their new like SUV, but you can get that for 0% for 60 months. Everything else is either Ford or Nissan or the Mazda CX-9. Those are the only 0% out there. And you get 0% for 36 months on a $35,000 car. Yeah, you're getting free interest, but 35,000 divided by 36, it's $972.
There you go. That's a big car payment. For many people, that's rent.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're mortgaging your cars now.
Yeah. Well, and this is why we've seen, and you're going to see, there's 7-year loan products out there for these, $100,000 utility-based pickup trucks for businesses. I think we're going to start seeing 10-year loan products out there for vehicles, because otherwise at 10%, the six-figure vehicles at 10%, they're going to need a 10-year amortization.
Yeah. Now, best lease deals. This is the other thing that amazed me. My mom's cousin, who I call Aunt Phyllis, has a Nissan. I think it was a Nissan Rogue, and she puts very few miles on, like my mom. She's I think she's 80 or so. Doesn't drive a lot, but her lease is up, and she can buy the car. She leased it before the market got crazy. The car's worth probably $10,000 more than her payoff.
Oh yeah! Oh, wow.
So if she goes to get another one, she's going to pay way too much. She only likes to lease, and right now Nissan's only doing 18-month leases.
Yeah,
because they're not sure what the future is going to hold, so they don't want to commit to 36 months. I got the echo again.
Oh,
nobody else. If you can hear it out there, let me know. Ray brings up another good point. I'm going to take this out. That might help a little. Car repair update. He bought a 15 Nissan Sentra with 102K and a bad transmission, is what they told him was wrong. The battery was 6 years old and in terrible condition. He replaced it, and the vehicle runs like new. Watch those batteries.
A 12-volt battery, like your standard.
Yeah. Now the CVT transmissions, could that be affected by voltage?
If this is that vehicle with a CVT transmission?
I think the Sentra is a CVT. Yeah.
So good call on that one, Dan. It would, because if your alternator and battery aren't operating in harmony, then it can change the power delivery for your CVT. There are other things that will change too with so many of the.
Oh, Adam, here's the echo.
So many of the. By the way, I don't get the echo here, but so many of the contemporary vehicles we have are running on so much of the battery. Because we have a lot of electronics in our vehicles now. And and what happens now is, for about 10 years or so, pretty much every supercar company offers as part of your stuff in the trunk a a trickle charger. So it even has the dongle wire that comes out and you plug it in, and they tell you, plug in your dongle if you're not going to be driving your $300,000 Ferrari or your $200,000 Porsche every day. Plug in the dongle and make sure that, because if you run the battery down, because the battery is running everything on that car, even when it's sitting. So if you run the battery down, you're going to have a $600 to $800 problem on your hands. And on some of these cars, you can't get into the car if the battery is completely dead. So you want to make sure that if you have an expensive vehicle, that your battery is kept in top shape. It does not surprise me. Cars built after 2010, 2011, 12, they tend to have battery drain issues. And this is also important to remember when you go to have your vehicle. If you take it to an O'Reilly's or a secondary chain store and you tell them I need a new battery, and they say, oh, we'll do it for you. They take the old one out, they put the new one in. That's a problem, because your codes for the vehicle will have to be reset, and you'll lose not just your radio codes, you'll lose your navigation system display, you'll lose a lot of stuff that is irretrievable unless you have a specific code that you can type back in, and a lot of these guys won't have that. And it's a return to the dealership where they're going to charge you minimum $150 just to look at the car.
Now, if you do have the echo's gone. If you do have a Honda or Acura product, an older one where the radios reset all the time, which I'm sure yours does on your Accord,
yep.
There's a website you can go to where you put in the VIN, you put in your email address, and then you put in the code that the radio is giving you, and it'll email you the proper code to unlock it. Because I've had that happen when I purchased cars at auction and the radio is locked out. And I think it actually happened on my mom's Civic. I think that's where I first found it. Now we're talking about power. I bought a new jump box. Now, sadly, this is not as cheap as it was when I bought it, because there was a special. But this one right here, this Fantic brand.
Yes.
Wow, this thing is great.
Now this is
up to a 10-liter gas or an 8-liter diesel engine, and it has like 20 or 30 jumps on a single charge.
Yeah.
And it's great to have with you, because if you're with somebody, especially in my car, if I'm in my electric car, I can't help anybody on the side of the road, or a friend calls and they need a jump. But with this, I can. But there's no way for me to hook up jumper cables to my car.
So this is a unit you plug into your car, or you just...
No, it's a portable carry unit, and you just hook it up to the battery directly, plus and the minus, and it starts the car right up.
And you can home recharge it.
You just plug it. You can charge it in your car with the USB, or you can just plug it into the wall. But here's a link if anybody's interested.
Now, does this also have a way to start your car from inside the car? Can you?
No, it's not. It's not one of those where you can plug into the lighter and start it.
Okay, those are great as well.
Yeah,
I have a large. It's probably about this big, like the size of a laptop, a little bit thicker, with the jumper cables, and it has a built-in compressor, and it's great for side of the road stuff. It's great for when neighbors call. I just roll down there and hop out, get on their battery clips, and start the car. Used it many times, helped many people with it, including flat tire. You just show up.
Well, that's the other thing is this Fantic, and again, they're not sponsoring the show, but I've watched some YouTube channels that they do sponsor their shows, and they have an air compressor, which I left. It's at my house right now. You type in how many pounds, 42 pounds, you put it on your thing, you turn it on, it fills it up, it shuts off when it hits 42.
That's helpful.
Yeah. And I just ordered from another YouTube channel I was watching. The guy mentioned that he has one of their vacuum cleaners, a little portable. It's like a tube.
Yeah.
Just to, quick cleanup of your car.
That'll save a marriage.
Yeah. And so I ordered one of those.
42.
yeah, we'll give that a try. But I just put the link out there, and yes, the link, if you use our link, that the Clutch Radio team does make a couple pennies, I think, if you bought it using the link. Now, the link did not show up on
Okay.
it didn't show up on Facebook. I think Facebook blocks links, but it did show up on our YouTube and
There you go.
other pages. Now, we did get a hello from Ireland. Good morning, evening.
Good morning. Good morning, evening.
Now, Ray does have a car to talk about, but I have something else I wanted to talk about. I mentioned Corvette earlier, and I want to get your opinion on this.
All right.
So I'm going to pull this up. I think we might have mentioned this before. I'm sure if Jake is around, he's going to talk about this.
Ah, yes.
Now, this is a rendering. This is not the official drawing.
Yeah.
But apparently it sounds like they are going to do the SUV in 2025.
Yeah. Well, it was going to happen.
And and they're basically going to make Corvette a sub-brand.
Sure. Just like Mustang.
Yeah, like Mustang has become it, or Genesis with Hyundai became its own brand.
Yeah.
So what's your opinion of this, and what's your opinion of the design?
So it's a little early to speak about the design, but basically you're taking a vehicle concept that is completely outside of its package and proportional standard. So you're never going to make it a Corvette visually. So the best thing you can do is assign this level of proportion some aggressive features and details that make it look more, I should say, differentiate it from other product. So it's got a basic SUV-like platform, but it's going to take its signature, for example, the tail lights, the headlights, the grille openings, the wheels, and side vent marks. Those kinds of things are going to be the character details that help differentiate it. Honestly, if you took the Corvette name off of this, you might just say, here's the new Pontiac, that General Motors is reviving Pontiac, and here's the Pontiac SUV. But what they've learned finally, and General Motors has been a little slow with this, they should have done this vehicle years ago. And the idea behind a performance SUV has been around for some time. But American car brands tend to still think that there is traditional value in the names, and they don't want to violate any of the brand integrity, et cetera, et cetera. But realistically speaking, the market is open to stuff like this. So it doesn't really make that much of a difference to the brand integrity to have an SUV represented as part of the Corvette brand name. I think the styling here is derivative. It's not very interesting. There's nothing unique or different about it that makes me go, well, that's unique and different, at least with a Corvette.
So wait, you're saying there's nothing unique and different about it that makes you say that's unique and different. I like that.
Yes. So I immediately forget what it looks like. If you stopped showing me the image and asked me to draw it, I could kind of get it basically, but there would be nothing unique about it. That's not true with a Corvette. I can draw a Corvette and get within 90% of what the new one looks like because it's very, very memorable. The new Corvette is a beautiful design. You might not personally like it, but it's unique and memorable. So price is going to be interesting on this because, look, they're going to have to compete with a pretty large market out there. Why would I buy this and not buy any other SUV that's out there already? Remains to be seen. It's got 600 and some horsepower. Okay. It isn't going to be a $45,000 car.
Right.
So, as Dan Lindquist says, it doesn't scream, I'm a Corvette. It's rather generic. Absolutely agree with you, Dan.
And this is a car and driver rendering. This is not a General Motors rendering.
Right. And And what's probably going to happen is it's going to be within what we're seeing looks wise here. It's not going to be radically different. It would be nice if it would be radically different, but the SUV package is very hard to change around. The windshield point has to be a certain place. The wheel to body relationship has to be in a certain proportion. The frontal impact height, all of those things.
Well, look at this. Look at this rendering somebody made.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate. It won't look like that.
Well, that's very unfortunate.
It won't look like that.
No.
There's a lot of speculation around what it will look like, but rest assured, it's going to be probably visually common.
Yeah,
and it's not great.
Yeah, Jake, of course, we started talking Corvettes and he tuned in.
Yes.
As always, he's like Beetlejuice. He said he would take one. Now, a lot of people I would think that are like Corvette enthusiasts would be like, there's no way. I mean, that's not a, like, they're Mustang people. They're like, the Mach E is not a Mustang.
Well, see,
how dare they use that name?
Yeah, and really what's happening here is the same thing happened when Dodge reintroduced the Charger and brought it out as a four-door. Every single Charger enthusiast from the 60s, the muscle car people, the loudmouths, everybody that Charger should be this, Charger should be that. They were all over chat rooms and internet blogs and all that, voicing their opinion. But every other word out of their mouth was Dodge Charger, which is what companies want. They want you talking about the vehicle so that the more you buzz, the more interesting and engaging people think it's going to be. Now, that looks more Corvette-ish from the front.
Yeah. I mean, these are some other renderings that people have done.
Mm-hmm. And that has more similar Corvette architecture. That certainly does as well.
Yeah,
I don't know why that's there, because it's not a car.
Yeah, the engine will be in the front for sure.
Yeah, and so if the vehicle gets more of this kind of look and dynamic, could be a worthy addition to the lineup. That's a very aggressive looking vehicle there, but there's a lot going on that car, and that will not be an inexpensive vehicle to manufacture. What remains to be seen is, will the body be fiberglass?
Yeah, I would think for the SUV they wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Because how about this shirt? Isn't that a gorgeous shirt?
That's a nice shirt. Wow.
You never know what's going to pop up in your ads. Also, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, they're getting rid of the Camaro. This is the last year of the Camaro again.
Well, they just haven't been getting the sales volume. And I'm sure they had the conversation about, if we kill the Camaro, maybe we'll make the SUV the Camaro. And I think what they ended up doing probably was they ended up elevating the Corvette brand and using the Corvette name for the SUV. And I suspect they may bring the Camaro back as an electric vehicle brand.
Yeah. Well, they're saying that I know Dodge is doing that with the Charger and the Challenger. They're going to be electric cars.
Yeah. Makes sense that the Charger would be electric.
I know, right? And the Corvette, everything I'm reading at least, is saying it will not be an EV from the get-go. They'll probably make it a hybrid at first, like they're doing with the E-Stang, whatever they're calling it, the E-Ray.
Yes.
So it's very, very interesting. So we shall see.
Yes, indeed. Well, there's a lot happening in the automobile industry now. There's the car companies are finally accelerating their technology to where they can keep up with the changes in the electronics industry. Computer companies, cell phone companies, car companies have paid a lot of attention to what's been going on with that volume of manufacturing. And cars are getting much more complicated. much more challenging to manufacture, but they're able to make changes a lot faster than they used to. Now that is going to have large financial impact on new cars, not the least of which is you have a $45,000-$50,000 car that has all this camera equipment and sensors and sensitive electronics in the bumpers, and you get a 30-mile-an-hour bumper impact, and it's no longer just replacing the bumper cap. You're going to have to change out $6,000 to $10,000 worth of cameras and sensitive electronics, and the whole car will have to be realigned so that the entire vehicle can still use all the sensor systems properly and accurately. So damage is going to be also much more expensive.
Yeah. Now, speaking of expensive, not really, we have a car of the week from Ray.
All right.
So let's do this real quick, and then we'll get to some old school. So Ray sent me a picture of a car, and this is one of my favorite cars.
Yes, this is a great car. You have
Great design, and I don't know why they stopped making them look like this.
Yeah, it's a very unique design, very memorable design. These are great cars. This car will go forever. If this car has 130,000 miles on it, it's ready to go another 130,000.
It's exactly how many miles it has on it.
Really?
That's 130,000 miles. It's a 2010.
This is a car to buy.
Yeah.
I tell you, I don't know what the price is, but I would buy this car.
Really?
Yeah. This is a good car.
Well, Ray has it priced very, very, very well, I think. 12 grand, including all fees.
Yeah, it's hard to resist. I mean, look, this was a $60,000 car, 50-some thousand when it was brand new.
It's the Acura TL. It is an Accord on steroids.
Yes. Yes.
It's got the big nose. They did tame that down, and I think these cars went from 10 to 14. I think is the last year of this body style.
Yeah.
And they changed it to the TLX, I think, and they're just not as nice.
Interestingly enough, the big nose on it doesn't bother me.
This nose is not wrong often.
But these are great cars. This is premium. This car comes with leather, probably has the sunroof, full power, air conditioning that'll run forever. This will get good highway miles per gallon. You'll be safe, comfortable. Maintenance and repair on this car is next to zero. There's absolutely nothing that's going to go wrong with it, period. And so what if you have to replace an alternator or a starter? I doubt you will. I never have in my car, and mine has gone 230,000 miles. So, and it's not the only car I own. So there's lots of opportunity with a car like this, tremendous upside. So yeah, that's a great car of the week.
And look at this back end.
It's a great looking car.
Just a wonderful design. It's an SH all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Dual exhaust.
Obviously it was fully loaded from the factory. Nice color too.
Yeah.
And
so for 12 grand, it can be yours.
I've seen these, by the way, with the silver parts, the grille and the tail section. I've seen them where owners have painted those flat black. And boy, the design changes completely.
Yeah.
Yes, all-wheel drive.
And Dan says it's got a big smile.
Yeah, it does.
Either he does or the car does, or you both do.
But you can reduce that. You can reduce that if you decide to. You can have it wrapped, or you can paint it. Paint those parts out. They're not hard to remove. And if you're good with masking, you can mask it out and paint those parts. Looks great with satin black. I've also seen them with where they're wrapped with carbon fiber, which is kind of a neat looking look if you like that.
He says it reminds him of the Joker. Wait till they get a load of me. See, I've always liked that car. I had the RL.
Yes.
I had an 09 RL for a short period of time. And I love that car too. But I just thought that the TL was such a great looking car and the price, 12 grand, with tax, license, and everything. You're buying for 10 grand basically.
Yeah, the RL was the slightly higher or premium model.
Right. That was the full size one.
Yeah. But you don't need a car bigger than that TL, especially if it's you and your wife driving around, doing errands and running back and forth places and things like that. But the only downside to the TL is it's a heavy car, so you're not going to get the best city miles in terms of miles per gallon, but your highway miles are great because those cars are very, very well designed, and they can get pretty regularly in the high 20s, low 30s if you air up the tires pretty high, which I always recommend. If you're going to do a long highway drive, air up 35, 37, 38 PSI in the tires, and you'll improve your gas mileage by 1, sometimes to 3 miles per gallon, depending on the aerodynamics on your vehicle.
And there you go. And speaking of aerodynamics, let's go old school.
Here we go. All right. Well, today we are going old school, and in the spirit of the SUV conversation, which we've been having today, we're going to talk about a very unique vehicle, one that I'm going to bet that many of our listeners have either only seen once or twice, or maybe vaguely remember seeing. But now we're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about one of the most unique SUVs ever made, and that is the Isuzu V-Cross.
Oh, yes.
Now, if you're not familiar with this car, when Dan brings it up, it's going to be really unusual. This car was probably one of the most unusual vehicles developed in the late 90s. The design was kind of a big risk for Isuzu. So because of that, they could not spend big money on the tooling. So they utilized ceramic tooling, which was able to give low volume production without the high cost of hardened steel tools. They knew that the vehicle was not going to sell in high numbers, but that was okay. So they built it primarily for the Japanese market, but it was so popular, they brought it into the United States. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Utilizing almost all pre-existing Isuzu componentry, the V-Cross was used as a kind of sport utility because it's a two-door design. It's not going to be very effective with cargo hauling and aggressive off-road stuff. But in the United States, Dan, guess how many total number of Isuzu V-Crosses were sold?
Now, I've seen a few of these in person, so they're not as rare as, in the hundreds, I would say. But I would say under 10,000.
1,800 were sold in the United States.
That's it?
That is it.
Wow. They must have been a lot in California because I definitely used to see these.
And that's what's so surprising. And now, because this is in the United States, they built them 99 to 2001. So it was a very limited number. But what's interesting about it is the reason why you think they made more of them is because they're visually so memorable. Nothing like it was built at the time, nor since. It's quite unusual in its design. Its interior was also two-tone, was something they experimented with. And again, a sporty two-door package. So 1999, the last one they built was 2001. And you used to be able, Ray bringing up a good point, brought good money. Absolutely, Ray. In 2008, 2009, 2010, you could buy one for about $8,000 to $12,000 retail. And these days, you're going to have to fork up in the teens to 20s for one. If you find a white one from 2001, buy it because it's the only one that they ever made, a polo white one from 2001. So rare in number, rare because of the design. Another one of the sort of interesting facts about this design is this design won the, wait for the title here, the Russian Spirit of Time Award by the Russian Design Confederation. So there you go, the 1999 Russian Spirit of Design Award. Now, here's one sold in 2020. That's 3 years ago for $11,000. This is about what you could get for them back then. But today, you're going to spend in the high teens to 20s to get one. These are all vehicles that have previously sold on Bring a Trailer. But you notice there hasn't been one sold for quite some time. And the reason
2020
why
is the last one.
The reason why is people are holding on to them.
You're saying the all white one is the rare one.
Yes. And so people are holding on to these. And there's one called the Iron Man Edition, which I think is supposedly the rarest of the bunch. And I think the highest priced one, here's one.
Oh, this is the one I actually had the picture of before.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the license plate.
Yeah.
It sold for $18,253 3 years ago.
Yeah. And this was a low mile one, probably beautifully maintained. But I can guarantee you, if you tried to sell that car today, that car would probably go in the high 20s to maybe even hit 30, because look how unique it is.
Yeah.
Thoroughly unique design, very, very well put together, and stock standard type Isuzu drivetrain and componentry.
And this one even has a little one in the back.
Yes. Yeah, so there you go, the Isuzu V-Cross. And if you can find the rare Iron Man edition, buy it. So if you see one, Ray, if you see one come across in the auctions, bid confidently, because these are becoming very sought after.
Well, there you go. And that's a great old school.
Yeah.
All right. Another thing we haven't done in a while, we might as well do today. You know what I'm going to say.
I know what you're going to say.
You know what I'm going to say. I'm going to say, where did it go? Here it is.
How much is gas where you live?
That voice never gets old. How much is gas where you live?
Thank you. I've noticed gas creeping up.
Yes.
But diesel almost catching up. Like the gas is going up and the diesel's not moving, so they're almost the same price again.
I don't know what's going on with gas prices. Gas prices have come up. I've seen a 30-cent swing in price from the local low price one for us and Safeway. I filled up a couple days ago, $3.89, and cruised by the same gas station. It was already $4.09. So that was just days later.
Yeah.
And gas pretty much around here is now over $4, pretty confidently in most places. I think the national average has probably come down. I'm going to take a stab and say nationally, it's probably $3.29.
Nationally, we're at $3.66.
Wow. So it's also come up nationally. And maybe that $3.29 is the lowest price.
Let's check. Washington right now is $4.47 average, and diesel is $4.99.
Wow.
When I drove by the station on the reservation the other day,
yes,
it was $4.41 for regular unleaded and $4.49 for diesel. It was 8 cents difference.
No.
Now the state with the cheapest gas is at $3.16.
$3.16 is that.
What do you think that state it is? What state that is?
Mississippi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you did your research.
No research. I never researched for this show.
Oh, that's true. How dare I say that?
Yeah, we remember the rules. We decided when we did this show, no research, no studying, none of that.
Now, $1.38 per liter for petrol and $1.55 for diesel.
Okay, so diesel's more.
That's over in Ireland. When I was just in London, it was $1.47, or it was £1.47 per liter which once you convert to the rate, it worked out to be about $7.50 a gallon.
Yeah. And our listener Norn in Ireland is being entertained by our president currently.
Is he still over there?
I believe he is. Adam, we agree it is still too damn expensive. But we have to be mindful of the fact that a gallon of gas is still the most volumetrically efficient source of fuel for moving 4,000 pounds of mass all over the place safely and efficiently. It is a lot to pay, but in the grand scheme of things, for people who rely on their vehicles to make their money and be in the places they need to be, it's still pretty amazing that we can get the level of efficiency out of a gallon of gas that we do.
Yes. Now, we do have something that Ray just mentioned that we should look at real quick. He said, take a look at the Stokes auction. There's some collectible cars there. Auction ends in a couple of days. So I do see that there are a bunch of these buses.
Yes.
These are fleet surplus. They're in the $1,200, $1,500 range right now.
Mystery machines.
I mean, Ray sold his for like 10 grand.
It can be done.
4,500. These are all 4,500s and F450s.
Yeah. Now, where are these classic cars?
Oh, by the way, he said it was only there for a day and a bit. Yeah, I think Biden's back ready.
Okay.
So this is all the heavy machinery. Here's an 86 Chevy C10. Some Jeep Wranglers.
Yeah.
Little cargo trailer. Oh, here's a 65 Mustang.
Click on that. All right. Little restaurant.
Currently at 6,350.
It's currently at 6,350.
Yes.
Wrong wheels and tires.
Yeah.
Change those out. Still has the standard interior. That's a black interior standard or base model automatic. So this should be around at Stokes. It should be around 8 to 10K.
It is a V8.
That's all wrong. There you go.
All right. Let's see what else we have. Let's see. That's a trailer. Another trailer. Let me go back to the list.
There you go.
Be a lot easier to find. That
snowmobile?
Pontiac Grand Am.
That's something you'll never see me buy as a snowmobile, by the way.
Yeah. An 89 Chevy Caprice.
Wow. That's something you don't see.
Look at that. That's like my 79 Pontiac, except 10 years newer.
Yeah.
I mean, 89. I think that might be the last year of this body style.
You might be right. Boy, look at that.
And it's a 2750.
Yeah. See, people still love this stuff.
Wow.
And with a car like that, there's absolutely nothing that's going to go wrong with that car. And if it does, you can have a 15-year-old auto shop mechanic from the high school vocational training program fix that car, because it's very, very basic, very simple vehicle.
There's a couple of BMWs. I'm not seeing a lot of classics yet. Let's see. Maybe they're holding them to an Alante.
Alante.
Uh-oh.
You're going to have to buy this. Oh, that's a white one. Pearl white.
It's a pearl white 89.
Yeah. Wow. Look at that. What's the bid so far? Oh, red interior.
$875.
Wow. Oh, this is screaming your name. That's
the roof on these are so hard though to do. And I wonder if does this have the hard top as well?
Yeah, that's the hard top sitting on the car.
Oh yeah, it had the hard top on it, which means it's got both.
Yeah.
I don't need to see the fees. Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah, there you go.
Because I mean, we sold that one for like $5,000.
Yes, we did.
Wait, how many miles did this have? I didn't notice. 103. The other one had 175,000 miles.
103 is not bad.
Let's see. Emergency brake gets stuck. Suggest not using it. Anti-lock warning coming on intermittently, but brake works well. The last bid was on the 14th last night at $850. I think this will go for in the twos when it's all said and done. It ends on Tuesday.
You know, if you can get into that car for under $2,500, you can flip it and make decent money. But otherwise, some of those problems are not going to be cheap to fix.
Yeah. So there's not a ton of classics in there, Ray, but there is definitely a couple of cool things. A
couple of interesting things, yeah.
I wonder if the Stealth is going to go to Bring a Trailer.
Yeah, I think that'll be a good place for it to be.
I mean, the Fiero could maybe go here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wait, look at this one. This isn't a car you'd expect to see here.
What is? I can't. Oh,
it's a 2022 CT4 all-wheel drive Cadillac.
That is 2022.
Yeah, it's an estate vehicle. So somebody.
Wow. It was the buy and die program.
Last time buyers program. That back end looks a lot like the ugly 7 Series BMW from the early 2000s.
With the bangle butt.
The bangle butt, yes.
This is a good looking car. White on white. That's unusual.
Yeah. It's a 22.2 right now, or 28.2 right now.
Well, this was a $60,000 car, last year.
Yeah.
Maybe even more.
It's got 1,000 miles on it.
Wow. This will sell for close to maybe even over 30.
It should. It should sell for
brand new
40s. Couple pickup trucks. Look at there. There's a Power Stroke diesel.
Yeah, and this is a great way to buy a pickup truck if you need a work vehicle.
214,000 miles. It's barely broken in.
That's right, especially for a diesel. This diesel, Power Stroke diesels will go 500,000-600,000 miles. Looks all pretty solid, not banged up too much.
Little aftermarket wheel thing happening here. It's not a dually, is it? No. The back wheels are popped out for sure. Ripped seat. Never mind. I'm out.
Never mind.
But it's only at $1,550. So there's another great way to go find some cars.
There are a lot of vehicles out there for not a lot of money.
Adam says, is Stokes just all online? Oh, yes, it is. They're 100% online, and they're just once a month. And he says there's a Tacoma.
Now, depending on the year of Tacomas, we've had good luck selling Tacomas.
Yeah. I'm guessing, is it Tacoma's? Is it yours, Ray?
Could be.
What do you have on the Ray? I'm sure Ray has something going on this sale.
What's interesting about auction cars is you gamble. The people are always surprised. Wow, that sold for $1,800. Okay, but it's still a gamble, and you have to keep that in mind. That when you're going to an auction, you gotta have a strong stomach. You got to be ready to go. You got to spend the money. Scroll back down. What's the green car? You just
it's an 01 Mercedes E-Class.
Yeah, click on that.
It's a 430 E-Matic.
It's an E-Matic, and it is. If that was a wagon, that would be a car to buy as well. But you got to tough it out. You got to have a strong stomach. You got to go to buy, and then when you buy, you got to be ready to spend a little bit more, because oftentimes cars you're buying on the cheap are going to have some needs, and you have to do more than a fluff and fold to move them along.
Now this one is 239,000 miles, gas, and the seller states fresh trade-in from Bainbridge Island.
There you go.
Was well maintained.
Yeah, it looks like it.
It's at $1,000 right now.
Yeah, these 90s Mercedes, early 2000 Mercedes, boy, you can get them for just a song, under $3,000 sometimes, and they'll keep going. The challenge, of course, is finding somebody who's willing to work on them, because they're not always easy to get serviced.
Let's get a tour bus.
That's what we need. It's a lot tour bus.
Look at this. It's no bids yet.
No bids.
The minimum bid right now is $250.
How many miles on that?
263,000.
And is it a
true miles unknown? It's a 12-liter V8, 47 passenger seats.
Oh, it's a seated bus. If that was converted to, living situation inside, rock band tour bus type thing.
Yeah, that's not a tour bus. That's a charter bus.
That's a charter bus. No wonder.
Yeah, we'd have to gut that whole thing, and
Yep.
It's got a toilet though.
Yeah. That's
wow.
I don't even have that 47 seats. I don't even have that many friends, so I don't know what.
Oh yes, you do. I mean, it's now, are these no minimum, like whatever it goes? Because should we bid $250 and see what happens?
Hey, you never know. The problem with something that big is, what do you put it after you bought it?
I know.
And it's not like this van that you got here or another thing that you might buy. You can find a place for it. You should park it outside until somebody comes along and buys it.
See, look, this is a one owner.
Yeah.
You'd think they could clean it before they put it
A
in
little,
here.
yeah, that would help.
It's a mutter. The back seats, they don't match. The colors don't match.
These, if you see these with a high top, the high tops get converted to campers, and those are valuable.
The back hatch doesn't work. The window's inoperable. 146,000 miles.
Run away.
It's at $530.
Run away. That's a vehicle that what'll happen is they'll gut the interior, maybe put in new seats, and they'll turn it into a work vehicle.
Yeah, I didn't see a Toyota Tacoma in here, Ray.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's wow, we're at 11:02.
Yes, we are.
I'm just going to do one more quick swipe, see if I can see the Tacoma. Not the Tacoma. Oh, there it is. An 86 Toyota pickup. Oh, wait a minute. An 86. Oh no, if it was an extended cab 4x4, it could be a Marty McFly conversion.
You might want to buy that.
Look at this. This one's at $4,100 already.
Yeah, because these are super desirable.
Wow.
Miles.
New front brakes, new shocks, new ball joints and tie rods, new belts, new battery, new valve cover gasket, new windshield, Weber carb with manual choke, new radio and kicker speakers, EGR delete kit added, 261,000 miles.
Okay, so two things with that Weber carburetor conversion and EGR delete, you're not going to be able to get it smog certified in most, certainly not in California, but many states that have smog tests, that just won't wash.
Well, we don't have them here anymore.
That's true. But someone will buy that vehicle and
it's
with it.
$4,100 already. All right.
There you go.
Not a Tacoma though. They didn't call them Tacomas. Those were Hilux, is what they were back then. Yep. No need for EGR here. Ray likes the van with 450 on it.
Yeah.
And Adam says, see you Wednesday, because Wednesday we are doing the final local screening of the sitcom It's a Lot. Tickets are available for free at itsalot.tv.com. No, Rick Springfield will not be there.
How many have been sold?
We are at, and a lot of the cast and crew will be there.
Good.
We're at 152 already.
Wow. And how many in the theater?
We're in the bigger theater. I don't know what the bigger theater holds.
Okay.
Might be in the 250 range.
All right. I'm hoping for a sellout.
Yeah. Tiffany will not be at the screening, and she's not in the show anymore.
Yeah, still with Rick.
Come on, Ray. Wait until we get Debbie Gibson. And then the other thing is when we get the dealership. I mean, maybe we'll be on South Tacoma Way. We'll have our own little dealership. Lenny Super Mega Autoplex.
Yes. We can even call it that.
That's exactly what we'll call it. Named after my dad. All right. Well, that's the show, everybody. My real dad, not my TV dad.
Yes.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week. And Monday night, the movie is Hustle.
Wow.
Horrible Adam Sandler movie. I almost said Adam Carolla movie. Probably would have been better with Adam Carolla. Not to prejudge, but that's Monday night on the Eridan Film Festival. Same places all these are being shown. And then Wednesday we have the screening, and then we'll be back here next Saturday. Maybe we'll be driving in the Stealth.
We'll wait and see.
See how the weather is.
Yeah.
All right. Wait, we have a last final comment. Oh, take care, everyone.
See you guys.
All right. Bye. Bye.